Good day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I'm Malika Ramsey. Thank you so very much for joining us this week. I'm happy to be back with you. We were gone last Friday. I know the Friday before then. I forgot to remind you that we would have been gone last Friday because, of course, that would have been Good Friday. I always like to remind you we do not do Facing the Nation on religious holidays because, as you know, in Guyana here we will cook up. We have so many different ethnicities and so many different religions, and we're happy about that. We're very grateful that we have reached a stage in our country whereby, even if not to take part or get involved, we are at a stage where we are very tolerant of each other's religion and religious practices and spirituality. We're very tolerant about that. So we were gone last week because last week would have been Good Friday. Let me just take this opportunity to wish you a happy belated Easter. I trust that you all had some fun, even though Mother Nature wasn't very kind to us on Easter Monday because it rained for most of the day. I know some of the little ones are still at home from school because you don't restart school for the final term until Monday. So I know that you're trying to soak up the sun that we're now getting that we didn't get on Easter Monday, and you're still flying those kites high. Enjoy it because from Monday it's going to be back to the books. So I trust that you are enjoying. I know those who wrote the grade 6 assessment during Holy Week, some of you are probably going to be biting your fingernails from now until sometime, I think it's July, August, when those results come out. But remember that you did your best. I'd like to tell you, even before I talk about this, I should also let you know that today I'm a loner. I'm a lone bug today. We should have been having the mayor and the deputy mayor from Linden, but of course some things came up, so we would have had to defer that conversation for next week. So next week, definitely the mayor and the deputy mayor of Linden will be here. But back to what I was talking about, I saw somewhere that someone was saying, I think on social media we call it memes, saying that a child's mental health is far more important than the grades he or she gets. And I really and truly agree with that. I know parents are sitting there also waiting in anticipation to see what are some of the schools their child or children will be awarded after writing that grade 6 assessment during Holy Week. I think it was on the Wednesday and the Thursday of Holy Week. I know you're also anxiously awaiting, but keep in mind that your child did the best that they could do. So while you're preparing for those results, of course in months to come, you should also be preparing your mind. It would be great, fabulous if they did well and they got the top schools, but everyone can't get a top school. So what I'm urging you to do is also prepare your minds in the meantime, that if they didn't get a school that you want them to. I know some of you try to live, what is the word? Vicariously. You try to live through your children and you want them to achieve what you didn't achieve. But remember, they're also human and they have challenges too, a different set of challenges that you would have had when you were that age. So keep that in mind. And what I can do is also urge you to be a good parent. Be the best parent that you can be, and you'll certainly see the results. Remember, the mental health is far more important than, the intellectual state of that child, depending on what school and so on they would have achieved. Just keep all that in mind. Those writing CXC, I know you're preparing, you're in the preparation mode, so I just want to urge you to try to stay focused. Also do the best that you possibly can do. And again, parents, here you come in. I know we've somehow gone into a culture in Guyana. I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm not saying stop them from doing it, but we're now in a culture in Guyana whereby it's okay for students to write. You have people writing 20 and 21 subjects. The good thing is that they're getting good grades when they write all of that subjects. I frankly believe that it is counterproductive because a child, not just a child, any human being should be well-rounded, whereby it's not only about the academics but a lot more things to support that. But if that is what floats your boat and you can do it, my hat's off to you. I'm extremely proud of you. I can tell you at the age of CXC, I could not manage 20 and 18 and 19 subjects. So again, congratulations to you. That means you have the ability to do it. Parents, however, keep in mind that it is important for them to be rounded, and you don't want a case whereby there's so much pressure on them. And this goes to both the national national grade 6 assessment and the CXC. You don't want a case where there's so much pressure on them that, you know, they eventually fall apart. You don't want that happening. So try your best to monitor them as much as possible. Today's program, since I'm the only person on the program and we haven't done this for the year, we haven't brought you a post-cabinet press briefing on this program for the year. You know, every now and again we like to give you the hands-on government information. Today I'll be bringing to you the Minister of State's post-cabinet press briefing, which was obviously held at the Ministry of the Presidency yesterday, which would have been the 4th of April. So you'll get that press conference in its entirety, especially for those of you who would not have been able to catch the live feed online, and if some of the other television stations would not have aired it yet. I know some of the newscasts usually carry it in pieces, but I always prefer when you hear exactly what was said, verbatim what was said by the minister, and you hear it in its entirety, because sometimes when we break things up into pieces, especially what our public officials say, there can be a misinterpreting of what was actually said. And I know for the purpose of space and so on, some of the newspapers, they have no choice but to break up what was said. So you'll be getting that in its entirety. But before we bring to you that press conference, I have some news for you. Harmony news, actually. And this is not new. I think this is the second year, and I'll just read a briefing from the Ministry of the Presidency regarding Harmony Village, which is expected to open next week. It says plans are moving apace for the opening of Harmony Village, a celebration of Guyana's culture presented by the Department of Social Cohesion at the Ministry of the Presidency. And one of the reasons this is very important too is because we're on that path. We continue on that path whereby we're promoting social cohesion and national unity. And I think sometimes we get in the habit of, you know, it sounds good rolling off the tongue and you get accustomed to saying social cohesion and national unity, but you know, how much of it do we really mean? It's not just a thing, you know. We should try to really act on it. And we all know sometimes what is happening in our country at times in terms of violence, whether it be domestic violence or crime. You know, there is need for national unity. So just to continue in terms of giving you the information, this morning, Technical Officer Ms. Olive Gopal hosted a walkthrough at the venue. Of course, that is on Main Street, Georgetown, for those of you who would have visited last year. She did that walkthrough with several national stakeholders in order to confirm the final arrangements. Harmony Village, which will be opened under the theme Building Partnerships, Promoting Community and National Cohesion, will open officially on April 12th, 2018, and is proposed as a celebration of Guyana's diversity. It is bringing all of our stakeholders together in one space so that we can celebrate our diversities. It's about us creating a space, a safe space, a space where we celebrate each other, according to Ms. Gopal. This year, Harmony Village will see a sizable expansion due to its successful pilot last year. So far, 95 organizations have confirmed their participation. So our numbers have doubled. Again, this is according to Ms. Gopal. Our numbers have doubled, and we are utilizing the space between Church Street and Middle Street, not only the avenue, but now we have to utilize the roadways as well. We anticipate that there will be about 2,000 to 3,000 persons traversing the village, she added. Harmony Village will officially open with a concert featuring key speakers from government and performances from cultural and religious organizations. There will also be booths run by the Islamic, Christian, Hindu, and Rastafarian core groups of the Department of Social Cohesion. There is that national unity and that large cook-up that I was telling you about, whereby we're a country with so many different cultures and religions, and it really is a beautiful thing to us. Guyana is indeed a beautiful place to be. The event will also feature a sports village that will host booths dedicated to cricket, karate, dominoes, and appearances of national athletes. You know, we have many of those. The Ministries of Public Health, Public Telecommunications, Agriculture, and Foreign Affairs will also be represented. Non-governmental organizations such as the Guyana Cancer Foundation and Help and Shelter will also be in attendance. Most prominently, Harmony Village will have a wide variety of artistic booths hosted by the Main Street Art Group, Beetle Arts, the Craft Association, and many more. Representatives from the Guyana Fire Service, the Guyana Police Force, the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, the Civil Defense Commission, the Mayor and City Council, and the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, which we're sometimes not very happy with, attended the second and final walkthrough today. Representatives, of course, that would have took place early this morning, as mentioned before. Representatives from the international artistic and athletic communities, as well as religious, cultural, government, and non-governmental organizations are also set to have booths at the event. So there's some pleasant news for us, as I did say to you in the beginning, Harmony News, that if those who are now joining us, I was just reading a release from the Ministry of the Presidency regarding the Department of Social Cohesion's Harmony Village set to open next week. So I trust that you can take some time to, and some of you have no choice but to traverse the area to get, to and fro your daily activities, depending on where your office, schools, or whatever activity you're part of, depending on where those places are located, you most often have to use the Main Street area. So I trust that you'll take some time and attend, go to see what is happening there in that village next week when it opens. It really is a good thing for Guyana, and as I said, we need some peace and harmony now. People are on edge. Unfortunately, last week you had that, I have to say, situation. It's obviously it's a murder whereby someone who, many persons, depending on where you work, the organizations that you work in or you're a part of, people look at you as someone upstanding or a good role model in society. Unfortunately, we had, he's former GDF rank. He allegedly murdered his reputed wife. So when these things happen, you go into a state whereby you're longing for a sense of peace, a sense of calm, a sense of explanation why. I mean, I frankly, you ask why, what makes a human being do things like this. So when events like Harmony Village come in our society, in our community, we have to take advantage of it and have a very different atmosphere, and hopefully it will help us as citizens and propel us to be better, because every single citizen, every single Guyanese citizen living in Guyana, there is room for improvement. There is room for you to be a better person or to be better persons. Enough from me for now. I'll let you have that post-cabinet press briefing from the Minister of State, which was held at the Ministry of the Presidency yesterday, of course facilitated by the Honorable Joseph Harmon. This is Facing the Nation. Stay with us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Good morning, Guyana. In fact, good morning to the world. Good morning. Because I believe we stream live. The post-cabinet briefing today covers matters which were dealt with at cabinet on the Tuesday, 3rd of April, 2018. Cabinet this morning, however, welcomed home the Honorable Prime Minister and First Vice President, Mr. Moses V. Nagamootoo, who was returned home after undergoing medical treatment in the United States of America. Prime Minister Nagamootoo has resumed duty as of today. His Excellency the President informed the Cabinet of his decision to attend the 25th meeting of the heads of government of the Commonwealth of Nations. The meeting will be hosted by the United Kingdom in London from April 16th to the 20th, 2018, under the theme Towards a Common Future. His Excellency's delegation will include Honorable Cara Greenidge, Vice President and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Audrey Waddell, Director General, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and His Excellency F. Hamley Case, Guyana's High Commissioner to London. The 2018 summit is likely to orient the Commonwealth towards a more proactive and relevant global role with regards to increasing international turbulence and unease. The theme of the summit, Towards a Common Future, will have four main goals, and they have been proposed for consideration as follows. 1, prosperity, boosting intra-Commonwealth trade and investment. 2, security, increasing cooperation in response to security challenges, including global terrorism, organized crime, and cyber attacks. 3, fairness, promoting democracy, fundamental freedoms, and good governance across the Commonwealth. And 4, sustainability, building resilience of small and vulnerable states to deal with the effect of climate change and other global crises. At the summit, President Granger would emphasize Guyana's role in and contribution to the green agenda of the Commonwealth. It will be pointed out that 2019 will mark the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the Aracrama Reserve. It would also be recalled that Guyana recently dedicated the approximately 700,000 hectares of the protected area of Kanashan, the home of our YY people in the South Rupununi, in the Queen's Commonwealth canopy. Guyana will therefore use the opportunity of the Heads of Government meeting to continue its leadership role in the establishment of the green agenda of the Commonwealth, and we do so as we seek to establish a green economy and green state as our model of development. The Honourable Minister of Finance submitted to Cabinet an end-of-year outcome statement for 2017. It will be recalled that the macro-fiscal numbers contained in the national budget for 2018 were reflective of actual data to October 2017 and projections for November and December of 2017. A commitment was given to the National Assembly to provide a final end-of-year statement that will provide actual numbers for the whole of 2017. It was pointed out that the final numbers included in the report will be the subject of intense scrutiny during the upcoming IMF Article 4 consultation slated for April 2018. The report highlighted statistical data in the following areas: the production of main commodities by sector, sugar, rice, bauxite, gold, and forestry; annual growth rate by sector, agriculture, fishing and forestry, mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity and water construction, and service industries. It also provided details of prices, the fiscal sector, and debt management. Cabinet approved of the report and directed that it be presented to the National Assembly. The Vice President and Honourable Minister of Public Security reported on a visit by the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on the Security Sector to Region Number 1, Barima, Waini. This followed visits by His Excellency the President, who outlined a frontier villages policy, and also recent reports of armed gangs in the Cuyuni River that affected the work of Guyanese miners. Cabinet noted that the Guyana Defense Force and the Guyana Police Force had mounted high-level, high-ranking visits to the area in an approach which includes citizens, the Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association, the Ministry of Natural Resources, Corps of Wardens. And this is an attempt to collectively address the security situation which has been widely reported in some of our newspapers. Annual reports for the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission for the year 2010 and 2011, and the Protected Areas Commission for the year 2012 were submitted to Cabinet by the Honorable Minister of State. Cabinet noted the reports and directed that they be laid in the National Assembly as is required by law. Also submitted to Cabinet were annual reports for the years 2012 and 2013 for the Guyana Revenue Authority, and the annual report for the year 2016 for the Guyana Police Force by the Honorable Minister of Finance and the Honorable Minister of Public Security, respectively. Cabinet also noted those reports and directed that they be forwarded to the National Assembly. Submission of these backlogged annual reports and audited financial statements by state agencies is part of a continuing process by the administration to establish transparency and accountability in the public sector. Cabinet has approved Guyana's attendance at the 8th Summit of the Americas of the Organization of the American States to be held in April 13th and 14th in Lima, Peru. The summit to be held under the theme Democratic Governance Against Corruption will be aimed at coordinating concrete action among member states in the fight against corruption that hinders sustainable development and which is a transnational threat across the Western Hemisphere. Guyana's participation will reiterate the government's continued commitment to fight corruption at the national and regional levels. Guyana's delegation will include the Honorable Carl Greenwich, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Riyad Insanali, Guyana's ambassador to the OAS, and Ambassador Charlene Phoenix, Guyana's ambassador to CARICOM. Guyana will be represented at the 72nd session of the Marine Environment Protection Committee from April 9th to the 13th in London, United Kingdom. The remit of the Marine Environment Protection Committee includes the control of ship source pollution, such as sewage, garbage, and greenhouse emissions. It is also concerned with ballast water management and pollution preparedness and response. The meeting will address such issues as the technical cooperation for the marine environment, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from ships, and international certification of fitness for the carriage of dangerous chemicals. The meeting will also provide a forum for the sharing of knowledge and information for the environmental impact of oil spills and the mitigation of its adverse effects. Mrs. Claudette Rogers, Director General of Maritime Administration Department, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, and Mrs. Barbara Haley, Director of the Frontiers Department, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will attend the meeting. Approval has been granted for Guyana to attend the 9th Midterm Ministerial Conference of the Non-Aligned Movement that is being held from April 4th to the 6th in Baku, Republic of Azerbaijan. This midterm conference will allow participants to exchange views on how to respond to challenges facing member states individually and the non-aligned movement generally due to the changing economic, social, and security environment. Participation in the conference will provide Guyana with the opportunity to demonstrate its continued and strong interest in the founding principles of the non-aligned movement. It will also enable Guyana's engagement in proactive diplomacy with regards to the preservation and sanctity of our borders. The Honorable Carl Greenwich, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Mr. Troy Torrington, Director of Multilateral and Global Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Mrs. Marissa Carmichael for Secretary, Guyana Permanent Mission to the United Nations, will attend the conference. Approval has been granted for the participation in a regional summit on disaster risk reduction to be held in the Dominican Republic from April 5th to 6th, 2018. This summit will allow participants to exchange lessons learned after the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season, especially effects of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Mr. Sean Welcome, Preparedness and Response Manager of the Civil Defense Commission, will participate in the summit. And finally, Cabinet has approved attendance at the World Bank's 9th Forum of the Debt Management Facility to be held in Brussels, Belgium from May 28 to the 29th, 2018. The forum will focus on policy-relevant research, topics related to debt policy and debt management. It will also give special attention to the current challenges faced by developing countries with respect to debt policy, sustainability, and management, and growing complexity of debt portfolios and uncertain market conditions. Mrs. Donna Haywood, head the Debt Management Division of the Ministry of Finance, will attend the forum. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the matters which I wish to bring to your attention this morning. I'm now prepared to take your questions.
Prime Minister, sir, Prime Minister Nagamoto, you said, came home today and resumed duty today. How is that possible?
Well, you know, once the Prime Minister is in the country, he's on duty. From the time he arrives in Guyana, he resumes duty. In fact, in his absence, Vice President Ramsey was performing the functions of the office of the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister, upon touching down in Guyana, resumes duty right away.
Is he going to be subject to a briefing session to bring him up to speed? Although you did say that he was in touch with what's going on, but there are some things that would have happened in his ministry, in his department while he was away, that he might not have been aware of.
Well, those are what we call standing operating procedures, and that the Prime Minister was kept abreast, as you are aware, with things that were taking place in the country while he was away. As I also indicated, that because the world is a global village now, that you can be almost in any part of the world and still electronically be in touch with your office and to be able to make decisions. But certainly there are some matters which, of course, the Prime Minister will have to be briefed on with respect to administrative matters with respect to his office, and I expect that during the course of today, those briefings will take place.
The Heinz and what the name story, the columnist Lincoln Lewis story. Is he going to be involved in that now that he's back? Bearing in mind he's head of the department.
Well, I don't know what is there to be involved in. I think the management of the Guyana Chronicle made a decision. The board of directors of the entity recognized that the management had the jurisdiction and the authority to make the decision which they made, and therefore there is nothing for the Prime Minister to get involved in. That's as far as we're concerned, that is the end of the matter.